Alright, today we are on Module 5, Lesson 11, and we are talking about volume and finding different sizes of cubes within the volume. So our opening exercise, which prism holds more 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch cubes? How many cubes does each prism hold? So volume, as a reminder, is length times width times height. So our volume for number 1, this is going to be 1, and this will be 2, is 10 inches by 4 inches by 6 inches. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 times 6 first, so I'm just going to rewrite 10 inches. 4 times 6 is 24. Inches times inches is inches squared. Now I have 24 times 10, so that's 240 inches cubed. So this one, if there is 1 inch cubes, that means I could fit 10 along the bottom of this. And then 4 here. Sorry, I didn't want to draw all of those. And 6 there. Okay, so when they are only 1 inch by 1 inch, and that's what I'm doing this by, then it would just be 240 cubes. Okay, so our volume equals 240 inches cubed, and that would be not cubs, cubes. All right. Number 2. So the volume of 2 will be 8 inches times 5 inches times 12 inches. Alright, so thinking to this, I could either do 8 times 5 first, 5 times 12, or 12 times 8 first. I'm going to personally do 5 times 12 first because I know that's 60. And that'll be easier to do 5 times 12 than any of the other numbers times 12. So now I have 8 inches times 60 inches squared. So 8 inches, 8 times 60, I could do 6 times 8 is 48. So it'd be 480 inches cubed. Okay, now it's the same thing as above because these are, as volume of the first one, because the cubes are all 1 inch in size. So there'd be 480 cubes. Alright, example 1. A box with the same dimensions as the volume as the first one is used to ship miniature dice whose side lengths have been cut in half. So the dice are 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. How many dice can fit inside the box? Okay, so we know the volume of this box is 240 inches cubed. But we are going to do 1/2 inch cubes. How could we figure out how many 1/2 inch cubes would fit into one cubic inch? So one way we could do this is we could actually solve 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. 1 times 1 is 1, times 1 more is 1. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So 1/8. So 1 cube makes up 1/8 of, so 1/8 of an inch, of a cubic inch. So that means it would take 8 of the 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch to fill 1 cubic inch. So if it takes 8 to fill the spot of 1, like up here, that means we're going to take our volume of our original and times that by 8. because we're going to have 8 times as many cubes. So 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 1, 2, 3 is 19. So there would be 1,920 cubes. Okay, let's go to the next page. Whoop. All right, now this one, they want 1/4 inch cubes. How many 1/4 inch cubes does it take to fill the prism? First, let's find the volume. Okay, so for our volume, so the volume will be 1, I'm going to change this really quick. So when we're multiplying, we need our fractions to be mixed, not mixed numbers. We need them to be improper. So I would do 2 times 1, that would be 2, plus 1 is 3. So it would be 3/2 inch. And then this one, I would do 4 times 3, that equals 12, plus 3 equals 15. So this would be 15/4 of an inch. Okay, so now we have 3/2 inch times 1 inch times 15/4 inch. Okay, so the 1 inch being in here makes this super easy because I can just do this all in one step. Because anything times 1 is going to be itself. So pretty much we're just taking the inches from this one. So 3 times 15 is 45. And 2 times 4 is 8. And we have 1, 2, 3 inches that we're multiplying together. So it'll be inches cubed. So we have 45/8. And that's the number we're going to use to help us. But I'm also going to turn this into a mixed number. So there are 5 full 8s. 5 times 8 is 40. So 45 minus 40 is 5. So 5 5/8 inches cubed. So our volume is 5 5/8 inches cubed. And this time we have 1/4 inch cubes. So we need to do 1/4 times 1/4. I'm going to change colors. Hold on. So 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4 is equal to 1/4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. So that means 1 cube makes up 1/64 of an inch. So 1 inch cubed is going to equal 64 cubes. So that means I need to take my volume, which would be 45/8 times 64. And I'm just going to have it be 64/1. Now I can cross cancel here. 8 and 64. 8 becomes 1. And 64 becomes 8. And we have 1 on our denominator, and then we have 45 times 8, which I'm going to solve over here. 5 times 8 is 40. 8 times 4 is 32. Plus 4 is 36. So 360. So 360/1 is 360 cubes. How is the number of cubes related to the volume? There are 64. No, that won't make sense. The number of cubes is 64 times greater than the volume. not than he volume, than the volume. Okay? All right, let's go to the exercises. I think the exercises are going to be a little more simple. I don't think we're going to have any weird shaped cubes. So let's find out. Calculate the volume. So first, let's turn all of these mixed numbers into improper fractions. So 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. So this becomes 16 thirds. And then our next one, 1 times 3 equals 3, plus 1 equals 4. So that equals 4 thirds. Okay, so our volume is going to be 16 thirds centimeters times 2 thirds centimeters times 4 thirds centimeters. So, we know that from what we were doing above that 16 times 4 is 64. 64 times 2 would be 128 over 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So that would be 128 over 27 centimeters cubed. Now, 27, how many full times does that go into 128? Let's guess and check. Let's see if 5 fits. So 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 is 13. Okay, so 27 times 5 is 135, but I only have 128, so that means I'm too big, so let's go down 1. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10, so 108. So 4 times, and that's 108. So we would take 128 minus 108, and that'd be 10 over 27 centimeters cubed. If you have to fill the prism with cubes whose side length is less than 1 centimeter, what size would be the best? Now, I would look at our fractions here. What are all of our denominators? 3. So 1/3 centimeter by 1/3 centimeter by 1/3 centimeter. How many of the cubes would fit in the prism? So I know that if I multiplied those all together, it'd be 1/27 centimeters cubed, which means that 27 fit into 1 cubic inch. So I would take my 128 over 27 and times that by 27 over 1. I can cross cancel out my 27s, they both become 1. Then I have 128 over 1, which is just 128 cubes. Use the relationship between the number of cubes and the volume to prove that your volume calculation is correct. So we could just do this backwards and do 128 over 1 divided by 27 over 1. So instead of multiplying, we would be dividing. So that would give me 128 over 1 times 1 over 27, and that would be 128 over 27. Okay, next page. All right, here we are just doing volume. So we have 1 times 4 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so that would be 5/4 centimeters, excuse me. And then we have 4 times 2 is 8 plus 3 equals 11. So this one would be 11/4 centimeters. And they just want us to find the volume. So this one will be easy compared to what we were just doing. So 5/4 centimeters times 1/2 centimeters times 11/4 centimeters. Okay, so 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 11 is 55. And 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 4 is 32. So it'd be 32 centimeters cubed. If we wanted to turn this into a mixed number, 32 goes into 55 one time. 55 minus 32 is 23. So it'd be 1 and 23/55 centimeters cubed. Okay, and we'll do this last one really quick. Let's turn these into improper fractions. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So it would be 10/3 inches. And then 3 1/3. We already did that work. So I'm just going to rewrite 10/3 inches. And then we have 5 2/3. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 equals 17. So this one would be 17/3 inches. So the volume would be 10/3 inches times 10/3 inches times 17/3 inches. Alright, 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 17 would be 1,700. And we know that 3 times 3 times 3 is 27 inches cubed. Alright, 27. Let's turn this into a mixed number. So we have 1,700 over 27 inches cubed is equal to... Alright, how many times does 27 go into 1,700? 10 times would just be 270, so it's more than 10. Because I know that 27 times 10 would be 270, but it's less than 100. So, kind of maybe think on your own for a minute. Try some things out. Okay, so we know it's between 10 and 100. Let's try 1,700 is closer to times 100 than it would be times